Alright, I should be live, I think. Hello chat. I think I'm live. Let me know if I am.
Chat.
And if, oh, I hear myself. Okay, that's good. Hello. Hello. You got an ad. Well, let's just say that I need money. I don't know. I didn't even realize I started with an ad. But hello chat. Hello Landon. Hello. Thank you, BFDI, for your voting. That means a lot. Yeah, so I do this thing every episode where I talk about the episode after I upload it. Obviously there hasn't been an Olo episode in a while. So, yeah, I haven't done this in a while, but I'm excited to do this. And yeah, CCD18, thank you for the $2. Yeah, it has been 2 years, so I guess it's $1 per year. Not bad. I did actually see a question from Angelo's Random Facts. Who voices Umbrella and Paint Palette? Apricot Stone voices Umbrella, and I voiced Paint Palette. I always voice Paint Palette, so yes. Fun fact, I actually redubbed all of her lines about a month ago because originally she sounded not great, so I redid the lines, and I'm actually very happy with how it turned out for the final product. But I'm sure no one really noticed that the lip sync was kind of off because I didn't redo the animation to fit the new lines, but I just tried to re-record it in the same intonation in the same way that the original lines were recorded in, so I didn't have to make any changes to the actual animation. So ask questions. Obviously I can't answer everything because there's going to be probably some spoiler questions, so I'm not going to answer those, but yeah. Moxie asks, how did I get Webs for Revs to voice the Grassman? This is like an unknown, I guess, fact, but Webs is my best friend, probably, right now. Like, he's my best friend, so we've been friends for a long time, so I didn't really have to get him to voice a character. I asked, and he said, yeah, because we're friends. Yes. Is that actually Sam in the chat, or is that just some random person? Wait, let me look. Is that actually Sam? No, that's like is that like a fake account for Sam? What is that? I don't know if it's real or not. I guess I never know. There's so many questions. Oh my god. But yeah, I will try to answer. I'm a big nerd. Why do the characters have specific fears? Any reasons or backstories? Well, I tried. Some of them kind of just relate to, like, Soapy's fear was fire, which wasn't super. Like, I didn't like specifically say, Soapy, your fear is fire. Like, Paint Palette didn't say that. But as you can see right here in the screen, the fire is on there at the bank. But I mean, Soapy's not afraid of banks. Soapy's afraid of fire because fire melts Soapy. So my name is Jeff is me. Okay, great. But yeah, I mean, most of them are based on either what the actual object would, like, how it would react to I don't know. I was trying to think logically based on what object they are, and also just, like, kind of history. Like, Yarn always hated the water, so obviously the water would have, like, it seems like it always has been her biggest fear. So also, I don't know what this person is spamming, but I'm just gonna put them in timeout because they're being annoying. So there goes that. Double cells. You will find out very soon because Bottle, yeah, is the first character that's died on screen in Olo. The first death. If you haven't seen the after credit scene, it's really good. Nile animated the fall and where, like, the bottle kind of impact. So if you haven't seen that part, it is after the credits. Go watch it. It'll show up on screen at some point, but yeah, I mean, you'll find out eventually what happens with that, because either, like, she's dead forever or she Either she's dead forever or she comes back. So you'll find out at some point. Let's see here. Oh, Calcium OS. Yeah, so Banana's scared of shrimp just because he's a picky eater, and I feel like that would just be it's just a very random thing. And in the original draft of the script, it was actually vegetables, just in general, that he didn't like. But we changed it to shrimp because I feel like he would. It's funny how it's a very specific food that he doesn't like. Yeah. Let's see. Tice asks, how come Diamond didn't shatter from the fall, whereas Bottle did? Well, diamonds are much less likely to break. I think diamonds are a lot sturdier than glass bottles are, so that was the distinction there. So that's why diamond didn't break, which I feel like makes sense just based on the objects that they are. Let's see. Christian Kane asks, I have a question. Does Yarn have an aquaphobia or thalassophobia? They're both water. I need to look up what those are. I have no idea. I'll look them up right now because that's a very interesting question. Let me give that a look. See what they are. Okay, no, she definitely has aquaphobia. Like, yeah, she's just a fear. She's just afraid of water. But specifically oceans. But like not like specific things in the ocean, just water in general, just being out in the water. So I guess aquaphobia is more like what her fear would be. So there's that. BFDI Pencil Fan 14. I see you spamming the same question. I don't really know if I have an answer for that question. I haven't really thought about that. So I don't really know. But I don't know. I what's the word? I respect any headcanons. Like if you have an opinion about that, I respect it. I don't really know. I just don't think about that. Landon asked, do you plan on making any Olo plushies? Eventually, I want to, but, yeah, eventually. I just don't really know what. I know that paint palette is definitely the one that I want to make as a plushie, but I don't think my channel's big enough right now to manufacture plushies. So I'll probably just have to wait a little bit. Maybe around when I'm at around 100k subs, maybe I'll do a plushie. But I think right now it's just not financially viable to do that. But eventually, yes, I do want to do a plushie. Fire King animates, why did Grass get out? I mean, that's not an Olo 4 question, but I think it was very obvious that he was just being a nuisance, and the people on the team were not comfortable with him being there, so he had to go. Square asks, who is my favorite character to voice act in Olo and why? Well, I only voiced 3 characters in Olo. And honestly, all of them are pretty fun to voice. But I think Paint Palette is my favorite just because I like how the voice sounds the most. Let's see. Potato Salad, it says, who's the biggest girl kisser or boy kisser? Well, I've already answered. I made a trivia video, who's the gayest character in Olo, and I said that it's probably Banana. I think Banana is the gayest character in the show. And I saw someone ask earlier, where is the question? Where'd it go? Yeah, I'm a big nerd asks, will the character's orientation, gender identities ever become relevant to the story of Olo? So, to kind of explain, originally the original plans of the show was that all LGBT kind of or not headcanons, but the canon sexualities in them would not come into the show at all. just because of how the show is very kind of focused on strategy and kind of mystery. So I was like, I didn't think I had any room for any sort of LGBT themes, or I guess like outward kind of themes in the show. But I realized that's kind of like, I kind of wanted to add some explicit, not explicit, but like very obvious, obvious representation in the show. That use of that word, where like people who don't know the sexualities, like because obviously not everyone's gonna be looking at my Twitter posts of the sexualities. So in the show there will be, starting with episode 5, I will be putting some of the canon sexualities and things like this. I will say I don't want any relationships in the show, which was kind of like my. It's hard to kind of make LGBT representation that isn't a relationship, because I didn't think that really fits the the kind of tone of show that I'm going for if people got in a relationship in the show. So there will be representation out loud in episode 5, but it's not, I don't know, it might not be what you expect, I guess. Yeah, I think it's kind of unfortunate how I have to kind of write it in episode 5, because I wish I kind of did it earlier. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I kind of just hope that people don't get upset at what happens in the episode. I kind of feel like episode 5 is just, I don't know, it's very dramatic. I think it's quite sad. So I just really hope people don't get the wrong idea of what I'm doing with that episode. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to spoil anything, so I will not I will not go that far into it. But yeah. Please stop spamming the questions. I'll get to yours eventually, but if you spam it, then it's kind of unfair to everyone else. So if you're spamming, I'm just not going to answer your question. At least right now. Let's see. Random person 123. Why did I decide to continue the series after so long? Well, the long story is I never stopped making the series. It was always going on. It just wasn't a main focus. I just had a lot of things going on the past 2 years. A lot of just big changes to my life, like moving out of my house and being at college for the first time, like in a dorm, living in a completely different place, and I had a lot of mental issues going on. Obviously, I'm not gonna. This isn't a therapy session, the live stream, but like, I will say most of the episode, at least animation graphics, were done this year, so I have no doubts that episode 5 will take a lot. Like, it won't take anywhere near as long as episode 4 did to come out, and I have a kind of schedule. I have a plan. So hopefully it all goes according to that plan. Yeah. And update episode 5. The script should be done tomorrow. So we're going to get right into voice acting and things next week. So, yay. Terrell Price, yeah, Olo will not be on a hiatus. If anything, the episode 3 and episode 4 was kind of a hiatus because I didn't work on it that much during that. Especially the year after Olo 3 came out. The second year of the 2, I did a lot more work for the episode. But that first year, I just had so much going on and mental stuff going on. So, yeah, if that answers your question, there you go. But I know for a fact that those issues won't, like, it can't impact, like, the episode, like, or the show again, because I already went through it. So, yeah. Jordan Draws asks, who makes the crystal elimination icons? They look really good. Well, thank you. I actually, yeah, I do those. I think it's a really fun, just little graphic to add into the, like, I don't know. It was a fun thing I did for episode 1, and I kind of just kept it going. So, yeah. Let's see. Pseudo Fraz asks, are the facial assets and limb assets the same as old 5? yeah, I'm not changing the overall style of the show. Um, but over time, the assets like have gotten like a little more refined. I think if you compare episode 1 to episode 2, the mouths look a little different. Like originally, the teeth on the open mouths didn't like they were a lot higher up than they are now, and now it kind of just looks better animated. So I do little minor adjustments, but the art style of the show is not going to change drastically at all between episodes. Jared, the Color TV Game 15 Master, how do you hire voice actors? I'm just asking because I plan on making an object show. I mean, most of the voice actors are friends of mine, and if I needed another person, I kind of just asked asked my team, and was like, do you know anyone that'll fit this role, blah, 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 and then, I mean, obviously, people starting out won't have that same group of people to rely on, I guess, but even, like, friends or family you can get to voice act at the beginning, or even just trying to make different voices on your own. Like, I know Griffin, like, Webs for Revs, does so many different voices with just his one voice. So I think doing things like that at the beginning will help get your show off the ground, and then you can get more people once the show gains more traction, I guess, or more people are interested in working on it. Hopefully that kind of answers your question. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, by the way. Mikey Mikalos Productions. Did I inspire Olo from One or AIB? No. I didn't watch AIB until 2022. I don't even think they are similar shows at all, and One isn't really similar either. But episode 4 of Olo was written before either of those shows even started coming out. Because episodes 1 and 2 of Olo were written in 2018, and then episodes 3 through 5 were written in 2019. So, yeah, the original Olo 4 was originally written in 2019. So there's another fun fact. So the script was written 2 years before the episode even started, like, actual production. So there's that. Tice, I really have no idea. I didn't really think that far. I have no clue what type of yarn is. So you can just figure that out on your own. Ace asks, will Olo 5 have more Circle in it? Circle basically got no screen time. Circle's really good in Olo 3, but Olo 4 no screen time. So Olo 4, when we were writing it, I really wanted to focus on some of the characters that didn't get much in the previous episodes, which is why I went with the 6-character fear kind of idea, because obviously episode 3 was a really big Circle episode. So how I write, it's not like, I realized my episodes not being like 30 minutes long like Teapot or whatever. I'm like, my episodes aren't as long as other object shows. So when I write something, I know not every character can get the same amount of screen time, and I feel like every character getting the same amount of screen time isn't a good thing, because then there isn't really a main character of that episode's story. So how I write is like, if there's a character that does a lot in a previous episode, unless it's like a big arc like Grassy, they usually don't do much the next episode, but then they get brought back. So I kind of make room. That's why Pitcher did a lot, that's why Soapy did a lot, that's why... who else? Bin, like some characters that didn't do much in previous episodes did a lot in episode 4, just because I'm trying to, especially with episode 4, I really wanted to give Pitcher, Soapy, Milky more of a character. So I felt like there were some of the more, like the less visible characters, especially Soapy and Pitcher being like new characters to the show. Like I was like, I need to give them more to do, and I think this episode really gave them some personality that I think they really needed. So Circle will have more of a story in episode 5, and so will Moon. Yeah, because I think those were the 2 characters that really didn't do much, but they're definitely more like central to the challenge, because especially like they didn't compete in the challenge, so obviously they like didn't really have much to do. They kind of just had one-liners in the whole episode. So next episode, every contestant competes in the challenge. It's like a team challenge, so everyone gets some screen time. Let's see. Deca, I can't answer that. That is spoilers. Let's see. Mikey Makelos Productions. No, there will not be a viewer vote. The show is written years in advance. Well, I mean, not intentionally years in advance, but they're just written really early. Just so I can. I feel like that's helped me a lot. Try to create a consistent and like cohesive story. So no, there will be there's no viewer interaction in the show at all. Animated Comrade Paint Bucket. Where are the other old contestants other than Eminem? Are they dead? You will find out eventually what happens to them. I won't say what episode, I won't say when, but eventually you will kind of know what happened. Let's see. 4 asks, was the Phobia Challenge inspired by one of the episodes of the first season of Total Drama? I don't think it was directly inspired by it, but I did watch Total Drama before I wrote this episode, so maybe there was some sort of a connection. Pluto Dragon, again, that's spoilers. I can't answer that. Shovel Animation says this is boring. Sorry that you think it's boring. I think this is a good... I don't know. I'm answering questions, so sorry, I guess. I don't use him pronouns, so... What? You can't hear me. Wait, hold on. Let me turn my mic up. Is it really that quiet? Give me a second. I'll try to fix that. It's good? Okay, I think this person's just a complainer. Let's see. I'll turn it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else is here. Okay, well, I don't really know what happened then. Again, so CCD asked a question about how I came up with the challenge, but honestly, I don't really remember because it was so long ago. I think part of it was trying to... I remember kind of being in that call when we wrote the episode originally. I think like our main focus was giving characters that didn't do much a spotlight, even if their team wasn't really up for elimination or anything. So, yeah. I think that was the main reason. Like, maybe not why we went for the fear factor thing specifically, but it was a way to focus on some of the characters, but not all of them, I guess. And give some of the characters a lot to do, especially Bin with the whole, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, just a general note. I'm not going to be answering why the characters don't know each other, why they do know each other. I'm not answering that. So, that's, if I answer everything, there won't be any sort of suspense or mystery to the show. So, I will not be answering that. I just remembered a question I saw earlier. Someone was saying, why is Umbrella not mean anymore? Which I kind of feel like is not true. I feel like she's not as specifically... Like, I feel like she's kind of like Flower. Because, you know, Flower was really mean in the first show. And then kind of toned down. But she still has a mean edge to her. Like, especially when Milky was like, oh, no, I don't want to do this. And she was like, come on, it's your time. Do the challenge. I feel like she's not nice. She's not like a super nice character. And she said in the episode that she got Milky on her side just like for her vote. Which isn't a super nice thing. I mean, obviously it's giving Milky a lifeline in the competition, but it's not like she had another motive there. So I don't think she's a super nice character in the first place. It's just it's toned down, I guess. But especially with a character like Bottle, who's always kind of mean, I felt like Umbrella and Bottle would have been the same character. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of why I toned her down a little bit. I'm a big nerd. Says any more music parodies like Tile the Creator. um, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's anything written in future episodes that have a music reference like that. It was just something Umbrella came up with on the spot for just as an excuse, but I didn't write that joke. Well, I did write this joke, but the Tile the Creator thing itself was not my. Because I think in the script it just said, "I love blank," or whatever, an album by blank. So I didn't have a specific like pun or joke in mind, but the actual like structure of the joke was mine, if that makes any sense. So thanks Spartan Dash for the Tile Creator idea, and I drew the album art for it as like a callback to one of Tyler's actual albums. Christian Kane says, "What was your favorite scene of Olo 4? Like which was the most fun to animate?" Which scenes were mine? I can kind of run through which ones are mine. So the scene with Umbrella milking Snowboard in the cabin at the beginning was mine, and that also the one after the challenge with them was also mine. My favorite scene to animate was probably the yarn water scene. There's a lot of fun stuff in there, like the bear and her kind of swimming. I definitely needed some like tips from some of my friends who are better at animating than me, but I was able to kind of do all of it on my own with like their kind of advice, like, oh, do this, blah 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 blah. So I think that was really fun. I think it turned out really nice, and I did some custom mells in it as well. Yeah, so I think that's my favorite scene in the episode that I animated specifically. Let's see. Jared the Color TV Game 15 Master asks, are any of these characters' personalities inspired by real people or other characters from other shows? I mean, because I came up with pretty much all the characters in Olo besides Pitcher, who was a recommended character, like 10 years ago. So I do think, as a kid, like when I made the first time I drew like Bucket, the first time I drew like Cherry, they were kind of inspired by BFDI in a way, but I think over time the characters just developed to the point of Olo. I feel like none of them are a specific copy of any BFDI character. So I don't know. I definitely was inspired. Like I think Umbrella, especially older Umbrella, where she was like, "I hate all of you." Like that was definitely just like inspired by Flower, but I think now she's not the same character at all, which is what I was just saying before. But yeah. Let's see. Gold2911 says, who is my favorite character in BFDI Teapot? I guess I'm trying to think. Out of all the seasons, I'll go season by season. So my favorite in BFDI season 1 was Flower. In BFDIA, my favorite is probably Puffball. And then BFB pre-split, I really liked Flower again, and Black Hole. And then BFB post-split, I'd say Blocky, and Teapot, I'd say Fanny. So those are my favorites in all the seasons. Let's see. Epic Toast has any of the characters done crimes? Well, Paint Palette just burnt down a bank in the episode, so I think that counts as a crime. Yeah, let's see. Moises asks, what was my favorite dare scene in the episode? I do think the bin scenes were my favorite, which was really funny because originally in the original script, bin, the whole crayon storyline, all that wasn't even in the script when I first wrote it. Originally, I was looking back at the original scripts just to see what changed, and Bin's entire scenes changed because his original fear was of garbage, and it was supposed to be like, haha, because he's a garbage can, he doesn't like garbage, but it just was stupid. And he had to find a key in the garbage. He had to dig through the garbage for an hour to find a key, which would have been so boring. So I'm glad that we changed it. I think it just turned out way better, and I really like the scene with the crayons thanking Ben, which it kind of like writing it. I was like, oh, that's a fun scene. But then like when it all came together, I was like, oh my god, it's actually cute. Like it was a good moment that I didn't even realize would be such like a wholesome moment until it was kind of all finished. Let's see. The Mighty Gallium says, why did I change his name from Can to Bin? It's really just because the voice actor of Bin doesn't say can. Like that's like not like a thing people say for like garbage cans in Australia. So I just felt like it made sense for him to be Bin. That's because that's like they call them trash bins over there, so in Australia. So I feel like that just made sense to change the name. Favorite character I've made, Tim, is Paint Palette, and I saw a donation before. Fire King Animates, thank you by the way. Can I make a key from a keyboarder? I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I thought this isn't a drawing stream, if that's what you're asking. So let's see. Potato salad, that is not a question, but I respect the thought process there. Wesner says, which character is your least favorite? Cherry is my least favorite, which is, like, I didn't realize people liked Cherry so much. She was just, like, brought on as elimination fodder, so, yeah. So I Love Interrupts asked, how did Paint Palette mask her voice? The funny thing is, I mean, I saw comments saying, whoa, the end scene, it was like her voice changed. But like, I just didn't because I redubbed all the lines, I just didn't redub that once. People were like, whoa, that means that she puts on different voices for the contestants. That was not intentional, so... that was not intentional, but I kind of like it, so maybe I'll just make that intentional now. I'll say it was intentional even though it wasn't. So I don't really know how to answer that question because it was not intentional. That guy named AA asks, which character do I think would like fried food the most? I'd say probably Bucket. I could see Bucket eating like a whole chicken, you know, like at KFC where they give you the whole chicken in a bucket or whatever, like the rotisserie chicken. He'd just like eat the whole thing, I feel like. So that is my answer. You asks, are more forgettable, lesser loved characters like Yarn and Soapy gonna get more screen time soon? I mean, I feel like Soapy did a lot in episode 4. Like, I feel like you learned a lot about Soapy and how they felt like, especially after elimination, they felt like they said, oh, I need to make more connections with my team, especially with the alliance that formed. They're kind of on the outs. It's like, oh crap. Like, I think that kind of, I don't know. I think there's a lot you can learn about Soapy in episode 4, and I feel like it was their biggest episode since episode 1, which is kind of strange. But yeah, Yarn didn't do much. I understand that. But yeah, not every character can get the same amount of screen time in every episode. I'm sorry that people who are like fans of like specifically Moon or like Circle that like did nothing in the episode had to wait 2 years and they were barely in the episode. But that's just how it was written. So, yeah. Let's see. People keep asking about Object Lockdown characters. I've already said I'm not answering that. Yeah. Tim says, what is one character from old that I regret putting in? I mean, it is Cherry. Cherry is the one that I regret putting in. Because I feel like anyone else... Because I kind of just like... I mean, Cherry was brought in as like elimination fodder, but like I got rid of like everything that people liked about her, so it was kind of just like useless. I kind of wish I brought someone like Acorn back. I mean, he's like... I don't know. I like Acorn, But I feel like maybe it would have made more sense if he got out, because he's kind of just like a little bit of a... He's like a weasel, you know? It's kind of odd. So I feel like it would have made sense for him to get out instead of Cherry or something. But, I mean, what's done is done. I can't change it now, so... Q&A, why does Paint Palette hate Milky from Globe Animates? I mean, watch the episode again. I feel like it makes sense why she said that. I'm not going to answer that specifically, though, because that probably will get into spoilers. Sandra Mation says, why does the voting method keep changing? So, I mean, it's just like a running gag. You know, it's something I thought of when I first started making the show. And I was like, it would be funny if the voting method just gets more complicated every episode. So stay tuned for some crazy elimination scenes. This is nowhere near the most, nowhere near the craziest thing, the sculptures. Like, there's more even, like, crazier. Like, I have a lot of interesting things planned for, the other episodes coming up. Let's see. CTY the Bluey fan 2019 says, do I like Bluey? I've never watched it, so yeah. Oh my god. Thank you for the donation, that lesbian record. Do I have something planned for Bin and Bucket's relationship? Possibly something more than just friends. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. It seems like they're besties. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Not confirming or denying anything. But, yeah, just keep watching. Eventually, maybe that will be, the answer will become clear. Although, anything past, like, a certain point of the series, I don't have fully written, so I'm not gonna promise anything there. Let's see. I got another donation. Holy crap! Animation Object Epic. Thank you for the €5. At college, I'm making an OSC game. I'm adding the most well-known characters. Would it be possible if I could add... Yeah, of course you'd add Paint Palette. I mean, it's like a fan game. Yeah, I give you full. I mean, as long as you credit Paint Palette to my show, then yeah, you can use it. No worries there. People, like, I've seen people come up to me asking, like, oh, can I make art? Can I make a reaction video? Can I make blah, blah, blah? Like, honestly, like, I love all fan content as long as it doesn't get weird. But I really like just seeing anything, like prediction videos, reaction videos, fan art. I just love seeing all of that. It just makes me get more motivated to keep working on the show. So... yeah. Why did Joni just say what in the chat? Oh. Okay. Let's see. Jamaski, I'm definitely gonna pronounce that wrong. But ask, what is my least favorite scene in Olo 4? I don't think I have a least favorite scene, but the scene that bothered me the most in production was the scene where all the crayons, like the scene where the purple one was like, I want to go play, because I had to animate all the crayons like moving around, and I had to animate all of that. So that was probably my least favorite scene, just because I just didn't want to do it. So, but I do like the scene. So yeah. Joni asked, what's my favorite crayon? I do think the orange one, I think, is the funniest. So the orange one is probably my favorite. But I do like how I designed the pink one to have the label ripped off. Because I definitely did that a lot with crayons back in the day. Let's see. Fire King Anime says, can I please make keyboard like that guy in Pictures Fair? I don't know what that... I mean, if you mean a recommended character, the recommended characters are, you have to be a member or a patron. I don't know if that's what is being asked, but... Sandra Mations asked, "Will Super Object Battle ever be acknowledged?" I mean, no. How I made Olo is that Object Lockdown and Object Lockout are connected, but it's kind of like a reboot in the way where you can watch Olo without ever watching old, and you won't really miss much. I mean, obviously there's some references like the pasta spaghetti reference at the beginning of the episode that people who haven't seen old won't fully understand, but I kind of made Olo where you can watch it without needing to watch old because I don't really like old. I know people do, but I mean, just personal issues. But yeah, I mean, everything in Olo like relating to olds will be either seen in flashbacks, like in the episode, or talked about. So it's like you don't need to, yeah, like I don't know. Super Project Battle is too old. Where like I don't really consider that canon. To Olo, like everything that's mentioned in older Olo will just relate to like old, which I guess like is kind of weird because there's like I mean old has connections to Super Object Battle, but like again I'm just not expecting people to watch old, so yeah, it's kind of like Olo's like a self-contained show that has references to old. That's basically what I'm doing with it, and everything else isn't really canon. So yeah, that is. So I guess it isn't really, yeah. So Super Object Battle isn't canon to the show at all, really. Let's see. So people keeps asking, Pseudo Fraz keeps asking about crayons. I don't think Olo characters are born. Like I don't think it's how that would work. But I do think, I mean, there's the crayons, there's the markers. Like it seems like a lot of the secondary characters to Olo are art related, and that's like the theme. So I thought it made sense. The markers are kind of the adult figures that are like the interns or whatnot, and then the crayons are like smaller than markers. So I was like, oh, the crayons can be smaller. Like if there's little crayons, I feel like that made sense. They're not related, or it's not like the markers or the parents and the crayons or the kids or something, but it's like I just thought that made sense as like I don't know, just like a character trope or like a theme. So I hope that made some sort of sense. Cyanified keeps asking about OFFVI. I don't really know how I'd reference that without making it seem really random. Jared the Color TV Game 15 Master. I already answered this earlier on, but I'm not gonna be spoiling that. I guess you'll have to wait and see what happens. I will say there will be an answer to that very soon in an upcoming episode, so stay tuned. You will figure that out. What happened to Bottle? I mean, obviously she died, but will she come back? Is she being recovered? Is she dead? Who knows? So you'll have to wait and see. Ice types don't suck. I like your username, but your question I can't answer. It's spoilers. So, which character has the most speeding tickets? Asks Hita. I'm trying to think. I feel like it would be like Grassy or Snowboard. I feel like Grassy and Snowboard. Snowboard would just be like. No, maybe not Snowbird. No. Either Grassy or I'm picturing Pitcher just like being like just going 1,000,000 miles per hour. That would be so funny. So yeah, I think Grassy and Pitcher would have speed ticket breaks. Yeah. Kill, that is not... I don't know why I put that in the episodes. That is not gonna happen. Jessica Couples keeps asking what's the best elimination I had. I don't really know how... I feel like that's not my place to judge, because I feel like the eliminations... I mean, how I make eliminations, that they're very focused on what the characters in the show, who would they vote for. Um, so I feel like it's not. I think it's up to you all, the audience, to decide which elimination is your favorite. I feel like that's not my place to decide. Transformations. I don't know if that's a specific rule. I think it's just how maybe the markers grouped them one time, but that is not like a consistent rule, I guess. Pop Tart and stuff says, why did Olo go on hiatus? I mean, we worked on it for the whole 2 years. It just was very slow. Again, because I had a lot of things going on, so it was never like canceled or anything. I just had a lot going on. So, yeah, I guess that's what happened. Pikachu Gamer asked, when will episode 5 come out? I do have a plan, but I'm not going to promise anything. I am planning to kind of speed up production a lot. And hopefully, I'm hoping that the episode will be out in 5 or 6 months, which I feel like is pretty short. So, we'll see. That's my plan, though, for right now. Joni asks, do I consider Olo to be something you're super passionate about? It kind of goes on and off, where there's sometimes, I mean, especially between episodes 3 and 4, where I was like, I really just don't want to do this right now. But always in the back of my head, it's always the main project that I am very passionate about. It's just, I had so much going on. I feel like I just lose track of time a lot. And I kind of just let weeks go by without working on it. I'm like, oh crap, it's been like a year since the last episode. So I do think schedules, calendars always help me stay on track. But I do think I just get into a space where I have so much going on in my head, like, or other things going on, where I just kind of forget Olo. I forget to work on it for a while, and then it just, I don't know, it just takes too long. So I do have a plan to always kind of have a calendar, always have a schedule plan, so that I never kind of slack off. Let's see. Tice, I already answered that earlier. Narwhal Ball, that's spoilers. Can't answer that. Mikey, Mikolos Productions. I liked Teapot 7. I thought it was a good episode. Jessica Couple says, what happened to Grassy? I don't know what you mean. He's in the cave with Eminem and Cherry. So, I don't know. Zephyr Arts says, why did I decide to eliminate Bottle? I really like Bottle. I think Bottle's a funny character, but I think just thinking of the dynamics of the purple team and thinking of, like, who's on that team and, like, storylines that could happen and everything, I just felt like Bottle was an expendable member that didn't really have much to offer. Especially, she kind of has a lot of overlap with Snowboard in a way. I mean, Snowboard's a more logical, kind of formal person than Bottle is. Bottle's very kind of arrogant, very upfront, where I feel like Snowboard is more reserved. But I still feel like they both have some overlap. And I felt, especially with even Umbrella as well, I felt like one of them wasn't really needed for the show going forward. So I felt like Bottle was a good option to boot. Ty says, why was Balloon and Skateboard eliminated from Old? I just didn't like either of the characters, so I just got rid of them because I didn't like them. Jared the Color TV 15 Master. If I was a contestant in Olo 4, what would the fear I have to what is the fear I would have to face? That's a hard question. Because I feel like I saw people saying that all the fears are very kind of nonsensical in the episode, which, like, I feel like that makes sense because it is a cartoon. Obviously, I don't think these characters have real life struggles going on. So, I mean, I feel like my biggest fear is death, but I don't think I'd put that in the show. So, I mean, if yeah, so I didn't want to put that in the episode. Obviously, I made all of the fears a little bit silly. Besides maybe the haunted house and the fire, like those are kind of scary. But a lot of the other ones were just kind of silly because that's kind of like what I like making. Anthony Velasquez. I mean, I think if I answer that, it'll be too much. I've never answered who's my favorite contestant in the show because I feel like that would just indirectly spoil that character gets far in the game. So I never answer that, but my favorite character in Olo is Paint Palette, just in general. I think Paint Palette is the best character in the show. Animated Comrade, I can't answer that because that like will be answered at some point, but I can't answer that. Zara Art saying if I was in an Olo like competition show, oh, I would do awful. I feel like I'd actually do like terrible. I feel like I just in camps, which are basically like object shows in like Discord servers or whatnot. Like it's like you're competing in the show online, like a fictional show. So like in object camps, I always trust people way too much, and then I get voted out. So I feel like I'd just be really bad. I feel like I'd get out early. Awesome Video says, why did I change Bucket's name to Tin? There's no character named Tin, and Bucket's name didn't change. Bucket and Bin are two different characters. Firemations, I don't really care about Object Terror because the creator is kind of racist, so I don't support that show. Yeah, Isle of the Interwebs, the code was what I showed at the beginning. The official code was 07070, which is basically like, if you look at 070, if you flip it upside down, it's Olo. So that was the code. I feel like PayPal just put in like Olo as the code. Yeah, that was the actual code was this. So yeah, that was the code. That's why I showed it during that little opening montage, because that was supposed to indicate that's what the code was. Let's see. Christian Kane asks, I have a question. What makes me think of making the cabin scenes? I really like the characters. I mean, just like Survivor, Total Drama always have scenes out of the competition. Outside of the challenges. And I feel like that is very important to the show because it kind of just gives more depth to the characters and what they do kind of in a normal day-to-day situation, not like in a competition. Pikachu Gamer, I'm talking about the Soapy's challenge where there's the lock and like they had to try to pick the correct combination. The code was like the correct number combination was 07070. Cherry, I can't answer questions about Cherry because that's spoilers. I've already said this. I can't answer that question. So. Can I have another assistant for Paint Palette if the guy pretending to be a ghost, not a recommended character? I mean, Drawing Tablet is the assistant, so I feel like it doesn't make sense to have another one. Awesome Videos, I can't answer that. I can't answer anything about Cherry. I can't answer anything about spoilers again. So there's a lot of questions here that I just can't answer. Ice types don't suck. What is the logo on the crayons? I was talking about this on a Discord server. I don't remember what it was supposed to be. I literally have no idea what that was. I think it was like maybe I tried to make Paint Palette, but then added an extra element to it or something. I don't really know. But I have no. It kind of looks like a stamp. I don't know what it's supposed to be. So I guess that's up to you to decide. Let's see. YoshiFan 3001 says, "Are there any scrapped characters? Will there be a debut?" Oh, thank you by the way for saying I'm cool. Yeah, so if you look at the scene in the daycare, there's a poster with a character easel on it. And that character that character was in the show, and Bottle replaced them. Because Easel just was a character that I was like, oh, I should add another new character. But Easel was just the same character as Bottle. So it was just useless to even have Easel as a character. So I just got rid of Easel, and Bottle was in the show. That is the only character that was made that never, that was like a beta character. Everyone else was set in stone from the start. Tiered says, are the pages in Notebook empty or not? You'll figure that out very soon. So stay tuned. Yeah, you'll figure that out in an upcoming episode. Bird Duck says, fun fact about a character that isn't spoilers. Let me think about that. Let me think. Hmm. I feel like Circle Circle I think is very in real I guess before the show. I feel like Circle is very terminally online. I feel like Circle would always be browsing social media, and I feel like he'd be a content creator. I feel like he'd make posts, he'd make videos, like kind of analyzing reality shows. So that's a fun fact that Circle would make videos and podcasts and whatnot. I think he'd be a creator. So there's a little fun fact. There you go. I do not have a release date for episode 5. I do not, but it will not take anywhere near as long as episode 4 did. So I don't have a release date this early. But the production hasn't really even started yet, so I do not have a release date. Kareto asks, how hard was it to make the little geometric mosaic-like icons? It actually, it isn't, I don't know. It's not, that hard, I feel like. It's just, I kind of make an outline with the line tool in Animate. I make a little outline of the character's shape, and then I just make a bunch of lines in between that I feel like would look like a gem, and then I color it in. I feel like it's not that... It obviously takes a bit of time, but I don't think it's difficult. Fox Tabber the yarn from Olo. No, Olo was not inspired by Inanimate Season 3 because it started before II3 came out. So it was not inspired by it. Zero Arts, I kind of feel like Milky's milk gets refilled. I feel like it won't expire. Christian Kane, I loved BFDIA 6. It was very, very good. So, I loved it. Spin Mellow Game 1231. Do any of the contestants remember Ahi Island? In episode 3, Moon directly says, Ahi Island, and then it goes to a flashback of Ahi Island. So it seems like Moon remembers it. So, yeah. Ice Types Don't Suck asks, why does Banana's sculpture look like Dora? It was not meant to look like Dora. It's just it's like a blob, as Umbrella would say. It does not look really like anything. That was meant to just be that. I don't know, Lucas says, what is my favorite episode of BFDI any season? That would have to be BFDI A4, with the Eiffel Tower and the underground factory and everything. I think that is the best BFDI episode. I love it so much. It's very funny. It's very interesting. 77 keeps asking, why is Banana scared of shrimp? I think he's just a very picky eater, and he just has specific foods that he hates for kind of no reason. So I'd say that's probably why he hates shrimp. I think it's just maybe he kind of assumed he wouldn't like shrimp, and then he just hated it. And, yeah. So... that's why. Spain asks who is the most nerdy of all the contestants. Well, I think Bucket is nerdy in a kind of gamer way, like he's a gaming nerd, and I think Circle is a nerd in the way of TV movies, like he'd be like a film nerd. So I think they're both nerds in kind of different ways. And then I think Snowboard is like just really smart and like a nerd in terms of school, like just knows a lot of facts about random things like math and science, and I feel like Snowboard has the highest IQ of any contestant. So I think Bucket and Circle I guess are more like geeks, and Snowboard is the nerd of the group. Yeah, so if that answers your question. Golden Cascade, I can't answer that. Let's see. God, do I think this season will be finished? I think eventually it will be finished, but I don't know when, obviously. Zara Arts, is there any canonical explanation for the character's voice changes? I mean, I think like it'll be implied what happened eventually, but I kind of just like I think part of the reason why I made Olo is just so I can kind of reset a lot of things I didn't like about my show and just get rid of a lot of stuff. So I think that is a situation where I kind of made the decision I don't want to voice all these characters, and then we'll kind of make a sort of I'll make a explanation in show eventually that wasn't my actual intention of it, but we'll kind of explain it in universe. I feel like maybe I don't even need to explain it in universe. Super Luigi Gamer 1235 asked, when will Object Show Tips 4 come out? I'm planning on making the next one before the end of the year, so stay tuned for that. Which asset took the longest to make? I don't really remember, to be honest. It's probably Pitcher, because Pitcher is just... Well, no, Pitcher was a recommended character, so no. The thing is, I made some of the assets like 6 years ago, so I don't really remember. To Siren Spartan, it'll be about audio editing, which like where you take voice acting lines and you kind of put them together in the episode. And also a bit of like processing, like how to get rid of background noise and whatnot. Buzzflow expressed why they changed the art style. It's actually a funny story. So I had this friend named Connor, right? Classic Connor. It wasn't just him, but like he kept trying to change my art style. He kept trying to like redesign all the characters. So I do think the main reason for me changing the art style is just so that no one else could make the assets for me, and that I had to, I just was able to keep my own assets and, they couldn't be changed, really. So I was just kind of giving myself more creative control. But I think it was a good idea, because I think it just makes a lot more sense. I think it's fun to have a new style. Moises asks, is voice acting a lot more work than animating? No. Animating is way more time consuming. So, yeah, no, it's definitely, voice acting takes probably, 10 minutes per character at the minimum. Rice Cake asks, why is Banana still in the game? This is actually an interesting point, because I actually heard a lot of people saying Banana should have gotten out, but they weren't, they didn't seem mad that Bottle got out. But I guess I'll go episode by episode. I mean, episode 1, the team was Cherry tripped and caused everyone to lose. So, I mean, that was, obviously Cherry. And it was the same episode 2. Grassy was just an idiot. Get rid of him. And I think part of the reason why, I feel like people would expect that to be the same thing again. Because Purple Team just got rid of, Cherry failed, get rid of Cherry. Grassy failed, get rid of Grassy. So I was I think the alliance that was made really shook things up on the team, because instead of everyone voting in that pact kind of, when you keep the team strong, they ruin the challenge, get rid of them. But Banana was the reason why. Like, episode 3 was the only episode so far that the purple team won a challenge, and that was because of Banana specifically. Banana saved that team from losing. Like, if Banana wasn't there, their team would have lost again. Like, it would have been their 4th loss, and the green team would never be up for elimination. So I think, like, they chose to keep Banana just because he's actually useful sometimes. Even if he's like a wild card, but sometimes he has a really good idea, and sometimes he doesn't. Like, episode 3, when he knew the fruit information no one else did, like, he saved the team. Episode 4, when he couldn't eat shrimp, he kind of failed the team. But he's kind of a wild card, but Bottle was just very antagonistic and didn't really help much. So that's why Bottle was given the boot instead of Banana. I think just, like, in the characters' minds, in that alliance's minds, it made sense to get rid of Bottle instead of Banana, because Bottle is less useful and also caused a lot of issues with Milky. Yeah, so there's your reason. I'm glad that you agree it makes sense. Werewolf Cookie, I believe there's 14 episodes planned. So 14 in total. Let's see. Tiered says, if I had to live with one Olo character, who would it be? Oh. If I had to live with one. That's a hard question. I kind of feel like a lot of them would get on my nerves. I'd probably pick Milky, because I feel like Milky would cause the least trouble. Because I feel like with some of the other characters, like Pitcher, Banana, they don't really, like, they're very weird. So, like, Snowboard, Umbrella, like, they'd be kind of annoying. Same with, like, even Bin and Circle, kind of be annoying, and Moon. I feel like Milky, like, her struggles are kind of all in her head. So I feel like she wouldn't lash out against me. She'd kind of just be, like, a chill person to hang out with. So I think Milky would be my answer. If I had to live with one of the characters, I'd probably say Milky. Let's see. Welcome, Yoshi Pop, to the stream. Freddie asks, why was Old canceled? There's a few reasons why. I mean, the first reason was there's just so many characters. Like, there's 28 characters. Most of them, like, were crap. A lot of them, I had no, like, idea what to do with them. I didn't like them. Second reason was I was planning on making Object Lockdown, like, I just wanted to make a different kind of show than what it was, because Object Lockdown was viewer vote. I didn't like the viewer vote. It was kind of goofy. I wanted it to be more serious. And then the biggest reason was that I was going through a lot, kind of realizing who I am, and I was like, I just became very uncomfortable with just having so many things, like, of my past in the episodes, like my voice, like a bunch of things that I just wasn't comfortable with personally in the show. And, like, Lockdown is never coming back. Like, it's not even like BFDIA where it was canceled because of an external reason. Like, it's a very personal set of reasons, and I just don't like thinking about the show. I don't know. I don't like hearing about it, really. I don't like Lockdown at all. So, yeah, that's why it was canceled. Milkshake Animation says, why Milky is female and has always been female. Some of these questions are spoilers. I'm not going to be answering these. I don't think the crayons have parents, Jay. I don't think there are parents for any of the characters. I mean, the purple crayon says that she had a dad, but, I mean, that's never going to be revealed in the show. It's just kind of just like, that was just like a joke line. Gotti says, why is Soapy not... Soapy's non-binary, which is a gender. That's not non-gender. I don't know. I just felt like the character, bringing them back after so long, I kind of wanted to have some representation of a different gender in the show. I kind of felt like that was important for me to do, especially when I was kind of canceling the show because of my own gender issues. Like I kind of wanted to just have more representation in the new show that I was doing. Let's see. He just says which character has the worst movie taste. I feel like Pitcher would just watch like crappy like direct to DVD Barbie movies. You know, well, maybe not Barbie movies, but like just like all those like direct to DVD animated movies that no one likes. I'm trying to think of like what's like a like the sequels like Cinderella 3 or like The Lion King 4. Or, I feel like Pitcher would be like, oh my god, I love that, and no one else would like it. So that is probably the worst movie taste of any of the characters, I'd say. Choreo, I also love Olo, so. Okay, well, I've never watched Cinderella 3, so maybe I shouldn't have commented on that. But, yeah. Let's see. I saw another question, but I didn't answer it. Oh, Awesome Video says, why is Pink Pal the only female contestant with eyelashes? So I made the change because Paint Pal's the only character that would have access to makeup on the island, so I think it made sense that everyone else has the same eyes, because if they don't have makeup, then, like, I mean, it's not like women wear makeup every second of the day. It's like, I feel like that's not... It just makes more sense for Paint Pal to be kind of dolled up, like, for the show, kind of putting on makeup to, like, look good in front of the cameras, and then no one else has access to it because they're living in the cabins. I feel like that just makes logical sense to me as to why. Thank you, INMT Knifey Fanatic. Thank you for enjoying the episode. I am glad. Just a Wario fan. I've had a camp since 2018. It's on the 12th season. I just don't really talk about it much. But yeah, it's Camp Live. It's on season 12. But I'm taking a long break after this season because I don't really like doing it anymore. So yeah, but I have a camp. It's just not the same kind of thing as Troc was. Eyeball Animation says, was there... Speaking of Troc. Okay, so Eyeball Animations asked, was there ever going to be a different host for Olo? Originally, I don't know if it was originally, but a plan I had was instead of Paint Pal being the host, it was going to be Spooky Spider from Troc. That was going to be the original Olo host. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but... it would have been just awful. So I'm glad I didn't do that, but it was an idea that I had. So I guess it's kind of similar to Burner has the spider as the host. So I guess it would have been like similar to that. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Spooky Spider isn't the host because that. But maybe that's kind of like maybe the idea of Spooky Spider is what kind of gave me the kind of direction of paint palette that I kind of ended up taking with the show. Rice Cake says, opinions on Pitcher. I think she's a really funny character and I like her a lot. I won't go any further than that. Hita, I feel like Paint Palette would... Yeah, I feel like she'd steal. I mean, she's probably stolen a bunch of stuff. So I mean, I think it's either like she pays or she steals. I think either of them are equally likely options. Crafty453, I already answered this, but the method of voting changes just as a running gag where every episode it gets more complicated. Episode 1 was just voting, and then it was voting on a screen, and then it was... I forget what episode 3 was. But every episode just gets more complicated, and it gets more and more and more and more complicated. So... yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's something I've mentioned before this episode, but it just always just progressively gets more complicated every episode, because I think it would just be funny that it just always gets worse. It always gets more weird. Oh yeah, the writing in the sand, yeah. Yes. I don't know. I thought it was like an original kind of idea because no one's done that before. No one's done something with a running gag where the voting method changes. So I thought it would just be fun to try out. And I'm glad people are finally noticing it now. Yeah. So I've already said awesome videos why. I mean, Can's name was changed to Bin because the voice actor of Bin doesn't say Can. So I was like, oh, so Sam says trash bin or just bins instead of Can. So I'm like, okay, I'll just change it to Bin. I feel like that makes sense for the character to match the voice actor. Piggy Master, what I think of Burger Brawl, never watched it. I don't want to watch it. I've heard the creators in the show like had some awful people on like the team making it, so I'm never gonna watch that show. Just a Wario fan asks, am I planning on continuing NFOB? Yeah, I mean, I've kind of like, I don't know. I think I've just noticed that I care a lot more about Olo than Flipnote, and I feel like a lot more people don't care about Flipnote than Olo, so I think I'm just going to focus on Olo. But eventually, at least episodes 5 and 6 will come out of Flipnote, because I promised that to my patrons that their recommended characters would be in the show. So even if there's no... even if I don't finish it, then... yeah. Eyeball animations, I think... oh, old one? I don't like that episode. Let's see. Crafty, you'll have to find out in another episode what happens. I don't know what Anowimbib is, so... Super Luigi Gamer 1235. I have seen AIB in the past. My favorite character, I think, was Album or Coconut. I think those were my favorites. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think those are my favorites. And also what else was it? There was like a Gold. I think it was just named Gold. I like that character too. Christian Kane, I don't really know much about Transformers, so. Freddy, what made you give Yarn arms? Yarn originally, didn't have arms, but an animator animated her with arms, and I'm like, oh, that looks better than without having arms, so she just kept her arms. What sexuality is Milky? I think she's one of the characters that is just asexual, if I can look that up real quick. I don't really remember. Yeah, Milky isn't gay or bi, or at least in canon, but she is asexual, like all the characters. I'm actually like losing my voice a little bit, so I don't know how much longer I'll go. I've also had a kind of tumultuous day, so I'll be on for a little bit more. But let's see, is Yarn straight? She's not specifically listed as LGBT, but who knows? Gotti asked, how did Diamond not shatter after she got eliminated? Because diamonds are much sturdier than glass bottles are. So it made sense, like, just logically that Diamond wouldn't break. Because diamonds are, like, known not to break. Which I did not know when I made Old 5 where Diamond broke. But, yeah. Black Jackson 11, Pitcher is a lesbian and asexual as well. I mean, all the characters are asexual. But, yeah, she is gay. Let's see. Eyeball Animations asks, what is my favorite character? My thoughts on Tennis Ball? Tennis Ball is fine. No, Milky's not Arrow Ace. So the difference is, I mean, none of the characters... There's only 2 characters that are aromantic, and they're Cherry and Moon. Every other character is, like, romantic, but all the characters are asexual, which is not the same thing. They're not Arrow Ace, besides Moon and Cherry. Those are the only 2 Arrow Ace characters. So, Fear Channel, yeah, I did do the fitness gram pacer test. I was actually pretty good at it, to be honest. I was like a pro. So, have I ever watched Greeny's Grand Game? No, I have not. Rice Cake, I assume you mean an Object Lockdown? I don't think they liked, or I don't think Yarn liked Moon in Object Lockdown. Oh, Nagel, me too. Oh my god. Who is the biggest forehead in Olo? It's gotta be like Snowboard, right? Like she has the giant head. So I think it has to be Snowboard. That's the biggest forehead. Or maybe it's Moon. Because Moon kind of has a big forehead. I can't answer that. I can't answer about any other Object Lockdown characters. How big roughly is Pericola Island? It's pretty big. I feel like it's a big island. There's a lot of different locations in it. I feel like it has to be... It's not as big as, like... Maybe it's, like, a similar size to, like, Ireland. I feel like that's a fair kind of comparison. How big is Ireland? Yeah, I feel like that's... I mean, yeah, I roughly the size of Ireland. There's your answer. I don't know. I think it's a big island. Big island. Maybe not as big as Ireland, but I don't know. Why does everyone think that's like a weird answer? I don't know. Jared asked what a Pericola Island looks like on a map. I mean, you could see a kind of a bird's eye view of it in the intro. Rice Cake, good question. So, my name is two parts. So there's Wuggle, which was given to me by my friends, basically. Like, oh, you could use Wuggle as your username. And then Olo was added on it for Object Lockout, because that's what I call Olo, like Object Lockout. So it's Wuggle Olo, which kind of is like Wuggolo. It could either be Wuggolo or Wuggolo, where it's like not Wuggle, but it's Wuggolo or Wugolo. So you can kind of emphasize the Wuggle or the Olo. It's kind of cool in that way, where it's like you can say it either way, where it's like you can be like Wuggle and Olo. It's like Wuggolo. Yeah, so... Well, tiered, I mean, like, I don't know. I think it is pretty big, but, like, I mean, obviously in a cartoon, like, I'm not going to be able to draw every individual tree, like, on the, in the, in the graphic I made. It's kind of just a simplified version of it. Pearly Annoying, what's, like, when typing my favorite font? My favorite font visually has to be, like, I really like how Helvetica looks. I love Helvetica. But I don't really like, I mean, typing, I just think Times New Roman is a classic. That is a classic. I think whenever I'm typing anything, like, important, I always use Times New Roman, just as, like, default. Subject promo, I don't think I can ask that. Oh my god, yeah, MLA format, true. No, MLA format's fun. I like it. It's a good format. Hello, AidenTube, and hello, JCC Mations, who has been... Or JGGC Mations, who has been asking me to give a shout out, like, the whole stream. What is unironically the best moment in Old? Unironically, like, the genuinely best moment. I like when Circle loses his hat and he's like, no, my hat, no. I like that moment. Where Circle's just like an idiot. It's a good moment. English class. I mean, I'm in college now, so I don't really have English class. But I do like writing and I like reading. I do think out of like the major subjects, English is my favorite. And math is my least favorite by far. I hate math. Um, this is my least favorite. Oh, fair enough. I mean, I understand when people like math because it's very kind of it's one answer is right. It's like if you know it, then you know it. But I just like my brain doesn't work that way. I like writing because I can kind of just like write whatever I want, and then I don't know. I think it's way more open and freeing to write instead of like math because math is just like 2 + 2 is 4. You can't like say 2 + 2 is 5. Like you could just like do so much more. I feel like with I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot more fun to me to do like writing. Some of these are too spoilery. I can't answer some of these, unfortunately. Let's see. Rice cake. I think right now I have the scripts for episodes 1 through. I mean, obviously 1, but 5 through 8 are written. But I mean, they're rough. They're rough drafts. So, like, they're finished scripts, but they were done so long ago that like before we start working on an episode, we kind of look at it again and we do revisions every time. Onion. Pitcher's juice is fruit punch. That's why she's called Punchy in this episode by Pain Palette. But yeah, she's fruit punch. The Olo characters would definitely win in a fight because I feel like most of the Flipnote characters are just pushovers. Like I feel like they wouldn't be able to fight. But like Umbrella, Snowboard, Bucket, Moon, like they just like kill all of them. Like that would just be a massacre. Aiden Tube says, I actually do. I like college a lot. I feel like it's compared to high school. Like high school, it's you're in class 7 days, 5 days a week. It's class like it's just a full block. But college is so much. It's way more freeing because classes only meet twice a week. So it's like I mean my Mondays I have 3 classes. So it's like I'm in classes for 6 hours on Mondays and Thursdays. But Tuesdays and Fridays, I only have 1 class, and it's early in the day. It's only like an hour and a half, so it's like the rest of the day I have for free. So I could just go, like, downtown. I could just shop. I can do whatever I want. Like, there's just so much more free time to do stuff. So I really do like college. Also, I do not go to college in New York. I'm in D.C. right now, so that's where I go to college. Whoa. Yeah, so, I mean, this stream is coming at you from Washington, D.C. right now. Through the airwaves. Yeah. My favorite Pokemon is Shelder, the little shell creature. Shelder is quite cute. I love it. I will say hi to Biden. People have actually like a funny story. People like someone in one of my classes saw Joe Fauci. Is his name Joe? Fauci. What is his name? I don't want to get political. I mean, I'm not going to get political. Anthony Fauci. He was like the guy that like was like the spokesperson about COVID or whatever when that first was going on, like the science guy. People saw him jogging around, which was it's so interesting. Like the people that are so important to the government, like just seeing them like around, like that's just like I'd be like flabbergasted if that was me. I'd be like, what the heck? That's Fauci. I'm like, it's just so weird being here. It's like I'm so close to like everything. Interesting. It's fun. Yeah. Awesome videos. I mean, the characters don't have ages. I feel like they'd all be the same age. I just don't really know what age that would be. I feel like this it's not like something I think about. Generic Plus Show, what is my opinion on Bottle and Grassy and BFDI? I think they're both they're both worse than their Olo same object characters. I think Grassy is way funnier than the Grassy Grassy from BFB is like the worst character in that show. But Bottle is kind of funny, but I prefer my bottle as well. I think they're just like the grassine bottle and teapot like don't really do anything. They're kind of just like useless. So. Wow, wait, I was probably there when you visited, but I mean you didn't see me obviously, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm probably gonna end in a few minutes, by the way. So get your last questions in. Go, go, go. I am thankful for all the questions. I hope you've learned a lot about this episode. Let's see. The strongest of the Olo cast, including Pain Palette. Oh, I feel like it would be Pain Palette. I don't know. That's a hard question. In terms of the contestants, I feel like Umbrella is up there. Moon is up there. Diamond as well. Why does Banana not like Umbrella? I think it's just I think Banana maybe from previous episodes like I think Umbrella maybe is the character that would be the rudest to or I mean Bottle too, but like I think it's just a very kind of like the same way that he hates shrimp. I feel like his kind of just view on the world is just randomly hating or loving things. I feel like it's maybe without even any sort of intention. I feel like he's very odd. So, and that's not really an answer, but I feel like it's just maybe just for no reason. Ace, was always my intention to have Olo have a lot of lore. I mean, I wouldn't consider it like, I mean, lore makes me think of one, where the whole show is like just very deep story. And for Olo, like my idea wasn't meant to be super, like, I mean, I think, I don't know, I wanted to make a show that was, it had a lot of mystery without getting super dark, and also had a lot of humor in it. So I think it's like my show, I really try to have a lot of different like tonal shifts, like different types of scenes going on, like funny scenes, serious scenes. Like I think it's just like my brain. Like I just like having a lot of contrast between scenes and moments, and I think it's like something where like one is very dramatic. It's not very funny. It's not a funny show, but I feel like I try to mix different elements together. Rice Cake in Olo 3, Moon seemed to have a memory as well. So, yeah, so maybe it's two different people. Who knows? And I'll answer one more question. Generic plus show, I mean, there was some sort of romance with Grassy, but that wasn't a two-person romance. Yeah, the last question here. Last question. By Pearly Annoying says, what's my opinion of people shipping Olo characters? I'm fine with it. I personally, the reason why I made all of them asexual was just so that I didn't get a bunch of like I like fan art of shipping as long as it doesn't go too far. But I respect shipping. I think it's okay as long as the people who are shipping don't like go against the canon sexualities that the characters have. Like I mean, Pitcher is a lesbian, so if someone ships Pitcher with Bucket, like I would not think that is a good thing to do. But as long as like the ships kind of fit with the sexualities that I give them, and characters that aren't listed like Milky or Bin, I don't really care what you do with them. Like you can make them gay, you can make them straight. I don't give like it doesn't matter. But the characters who like have explicit kind of obvious like what's the word I'm looking for that their sexualities are marked, like they are firm, like they are sexualities that I've said. If someone like goes against that, I think that's not something I'd support. But just shipping in general, it's fine. It's cool. I like shipping. Yeah, he is very pathetic. Rice cake is pathetic. But yes, yeah. Thank you all for being here, by the way. I originally, like, I mean, I wasn't going to do the stream. Like, a few hours ago, I was like, I'm not doing the stream. I just had, like, the strangest, almost, like, sitcom, worst possible, unluckiest series of events in one day. That could have maybe ever happened. Where I was like, I'm not streaming today, but this actually was a really fun stream, even though it was just me, even though it was just me talking in the chat. I think it was a very fun, it was a fun stream. I had a lot of good questions. I'm thankful for all of you. Duck already said, like, my day wasn't great. Not a great day, but I do feel a lot better after the stream. It was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. So, yes. And that's that. So thank you all for being here, asking questions, and just being excited about the show. It makes me very happy to see people enjoying the show as much as I do. So, yeah. And, goodbye. Bye. Bye.